Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I thought with escaping retail 2 years ago, mostly off-case, that I would never have to deal with a Karen. I was wrong. So, for the cast, you've got me, Karen, the Walmart employee, the former manager, Lowe's employee, and Lowe's manager. So this week I actually get to be home for a few days. I'm an over-the-road truck driver that runs a dedicated load every week across the country and nowhere near home. My co-driver, aka my dad, and I pretty much run 40 plus weeks out of the year and usually take a solid month off or so when we want to be home or go on vacation out of the country. Any other time, it's just a day or two here and there when we can just happen to get to town. But this time we got to go home for a solid week. You know what that means? Home-cooked meals. I love to cook, and to do so, I needed fresh groceries. Stupid me decided to run to Walmart alone instead of the neighborhood grocery store down by my house. And boy, do I regret that now. I actually enjoy Walmart, much to everyone's shock. I am a former employee, an ex-cashier who, according to my former co-workers, has an unshakable customer service persona that couldn't be wavered by 2 years of retail abuse. I actually rather like the job being the people-pleaser masochist that I am. And I had quite a number of regulars and employees that I still like to chat with when I'm out shopping. This day I'd finished catching up and had moved deeply into my hunt for the ingredients I needed for a new recipe I was eager to try. I was having trouble finding a certain spice among the variety before me when it happened. The classic Karen throat clearing full disclosure. I have no idea how long the woman I looked up to find glaring at me had been trying to get my attention. I had been on my Blue Parrot headset that I usually wear when driving, and at the time I was using it to ironically listen to scary Walmart stories by a YouTuber while my eyes were scanning the shelves and checking the recipe list on my phone. Needless to say, I hadn't been looking for human interaction at that moment. But like usual, my knee-jerk customer service persona, which is just given a polite smile and friendly eyes, kicked in, and I shifted my cart away from the shelves while also muting my phone. I say, I'm sorry if You shouldn't ignore a customer like that. It's super unprofessional. Honestly, why do they appoint barely teenagers to management? Karen scolds me a bit more for ranting about management, meaning experience, but really, I only paid attention to the first thing she said to me. My mind had wandered from looking at her to looking down at myself. To her credit, I was dressed nice, but not exactly what I would call professional. With pastel pink capris, a flouncy olive green blouse, and shiny metallic bronze flats. What can I say? I like dressing nice and colorful when I'm not at risk of getting diesel on my clothes. Karen was a middle-aged local classic pain in the behind, whose sense of fashion often hurt my eyes. This one looked like she just rolled out of the trailer park wearing a camo hoodie with pink, black workout pants that probably had never seen the inside of a gym, lime green running shoes, and bottle blonde hair done up in a ponytail pulled through the back of a very loved baseball cap. To complete the look, she had a huge Coach purse sitting in her buggy beside her, a bag that even I know cost more than her entire outfit times 3. Yeah, typical Karen for where I'm from. I say, listen, I don't work here. If you need help with something, all you need to do is press that button, and it will call someone for you. I gestured to a need help call button located on a post about 2 paces behind me up the aisle. Usually, I wouldn't mind helping someone who couldn't find something. I had former customers ask for my help all the time if I wasn't busy, and they were nice or just elderly. I was a big hit with the elderly because I'm a sucker for little old ladies. So far, Karen wasn't any of those things, and she had a perfume on that was making my nose itch, so I was hoping to shoo her away. No such luck. Karen scowls at my suggestion. Why are you lying? You work here. You've checked me out numerous times, and I don't appreciate being lied to. The nerve. To be honest, I felt this mixture of confusion and resignation, and completely dropped my smile inside. I'm only as nice as I want to be. In truth, I have a resting witch face that makes me very unapproachable, according to my best friends. Listen, I don't work here anymore, and I'm in the middle of getting my own groceries. So let's just not. Turning back to the shelf of spices, I checked my phone again before glancing over the selection and finally finding what I needed. Just as I moved to put it in my buggy and move along with my day, I get a sharp, nasty pain in the side of my head. I yell, probably louder than necessary, but I was so caught off guard by the pain that I didn't care. Plus, I'm very tender-headed. See, apparently the Karen was not happy with me and grabbed a hold of my headset and yanked it off my head. Unfortunately for me, I had very thick, very wavy hair that for some reason other people envy. Not me though, and especially not when the headrest of my headset tangled in my hair from the way she tried to snatch it off. And instead she ended up yanking and pulling out more than a few strands of my hair. Even with such a yank, she didn't manage to free it from my hair and just ended up dropping it, causing the headset to tangle further in my hair and cause gravity to yank my hair mercilessly again. Most people would have stopped and apologized after realizing what they have done. But not Karen though. Don't you dare walk away from me! How dare you speak to me that way? I don't care if you're in management now or what. You still work at Walmart. You're still not as important as me. Her last comment made me pause in the midst of trying to free my hair from my headset. Eyes watering, scalp throbbing. I always hated how people look down on people working at Walmart. The majority of cashiers and floor associates that I knew at this store were either students or retired professionals like teachers, nurses, and office workers. Most of our older staff were just part-timers with something to do. I was pissed. I don't work here. Not this again. I told you, I don't work here. I don't work here. I don't work here. I just kept repeating myself at this point, getting louder and louder until I was practically screaming at her, making her back away from me. Something I learned early on as a child was that I was the last kind of person people expected to hear yell. I don't know if it's the way I look or just a vibe I give off. I don't know, but either way, I've learned to use it to my advantage to get people to back off. But the screaming also started to draw attention to us as people started coming into the aisle to see what was happening. Among the people were a Walmart employee I was familiar with, even though she started after I left, and my former manager. By the time they show up, I had finished screaming and was now just glaring at the shell-shocked and probably embarrassed Karen, who was red in the face. What's going on here? Is someone hurt? The employee asks. Karen points a finger at me first as I'm catching my breath and have started fiddling with my hair again, trying to get it untangled. This girl went crazy when I tried to ask her where something was. Started screaming in my face and even swung at me. She needs to go to jail or at least be fired. By the end of her speech, big crocodile tears were streaming down her face. One of the random customers who had come to watch was patting her shoulder and trying to console her. The employee and manager turned to me just as I finally get my headset free with a good clump of hair still wrapped around the headrest and look up, meeting their gazes. OP, are you alright? What happened? Why were you screaming? What was all the hair? My former manager asked me. Bless her, she didn't even wait for my response. I really wasn't in a state of mind to give one as I tend to go mute when I get very upset. She looked from my distraught face to my hand still holding the headset and mess of hair hanging limply from it before turning back to Karen, who was quietly regaling some of the crowd with just how horrific I have been. Excuse me, but can you tell me what happened again? And also perhaps tell me why the OP is holding a chunk of her hair. What about her hair? I told you. She attacked me. I am the victim here. Are you believing her over me because she's your employee? The crowd begins to murmur, and Karen obviously realizes she's losing popular opinion. In the meantime, I'm starting to calm down and rub at my scalp, trying to dissipate the pain. Luckily, there was no blood. I was just asking her a question and she ignored me. I pulled off her headphones to get her to listen to me. It's not my fault she doesn't brush her hair. Well, that's assault. Why would you ever put your hands on someone? And now you're telling everyone that she attacked you? What's the matter with you? The employee yells at her. I think it's time we called for the sheriff's department, the manager added. Karen's eyes widened as she seemed to come to the realization that she might have screwed with the wrong person. I say, I'm fine, just make her leave me alone. I don't want to spend one of my precious nights at home with a police officer unless he's buying me dinner. This made the crowd laugh. Are you sure, OP? The manager asked me. No, but I have cool things to get home and a dinner to cook, and my dad's probably wondering what's taking so long. To that, the manager nodded and forced Karen to follow her while the crowd quickly dispersed and went back to their own shopping. The employee stayed with me and chatted while I got the last few things I needed and went to check out. The manager came up to me after I finished paying and told me she'd have the woman banned from this store. To be honest, that really stings for her because this is the only Walmart in this county, and the closest Walmart I know is over a 40-minute drive from where I live. Apparently, I was not the first person she harassed here. A few weeks later, I decided to run another errand while I was home for the week. This time, it was to Lowe's to pick up some mulch for my awesome dad's newly built raised flower beds and a few odds and ends like metal piping, spray paint, and screws for a home project I decided to start. Dad is a few aisles over from me, picking up the spray paint while I was looking at screws and chatting with the employee for a few minutes about my cat. I own a Sphinx cat, a hairless cat named Pan, who will go with me anywhere if I let him. Since Lowe's is pet-friendly, he usually tags along with me on every trip and sits in a child seat without complaint the whole time. All of the staff here adore him and are constantly stopping me for a visit and a chat, with the employee being the most frequent visitor because her section is right next to the main entrance. After the employee leaves to check her section, but not before promising to bring back some cat treats for her Pan, I turn my attention back to the screws. I kid you not. Mere seconds after Lowe's employee leaves, I hear someone growl out, "You!" I turn around wide-eyed to find Karen standing there behind her cart, glaring at me. Let me know before this exchange that I'm wearing jean shorts, a ripped blouse with a bandana print, flip-flop, and my hair pulled up with a scrunchie. I was the definition of non-professional attire, and I certainly don't look like a Lowe's associate. So, this is where you work. Sorry? Oh, you will be sorry. Where is your manager? I demand to get him for me now. I want you fired after what you did to me the other day. I'll admit, I wasn't on my best game at this moment. It had been a long day. My awesome dad and I had spent most of it out in the yard checking on the progress of the lawn. We had laid grass seed before we went back to work at the end of May, and also shoving soil into the raised flower beds. I was sun-tired, and this woman had enough malice to knock the wind out of your sails. I don't work here either, lady. Liar! I saw you talking with your co-worker. No one talks that much with staff unless you're an employee. Now get me your manager. Now! Her comment really irritated me. By her logic, I should also work at the bank, the water company, the electric company, the Dollar General, Witt's Barbecue, the pilot, and pretty much everywhere else I run errands in town. Especially the places I take Ben. He's such a well-behaved baby that it's easy for people to approach me and strike up a conversation. Plus, I really do enjoy talking with people, but this woman acted like anyone working or making a living was beneath her. It disgusted me. Can't you hear it? I don't work here, and the employee and I were just talking about my baby here. Baby? Confused Karen peeks around me at Pan sitting there doing his best yoga pose with his back leg thrown high in the air while he cleaned his leg. And Karen shrieks, making me step back into the shelves because wow, I am not expecting that. Meanwhile, Pan doesn't even acknowledge her. He's too busy cleaning and used to loud noises from living on a truck.
What is that hideous creature? Whoa, hang on. Wait a minute. How dare you bring that disgusting thing into a store? It's a naked rat.
It's my cat. I actually think the woman was getting ready to throw something at me or Pan if the employee didn't appear coming up the aisle, followed by the awesome dad of mine. Ma'am, would you please calm down? Opie, what's going on? The employee asks.
This girl brought a disgusting creature into this store. Give me a manager. I want her fired and banned.
Disgusting? He asks her. Fired? Dad asks. Ma'am, this is a pet-friendly store, and Pan is a welcome guest. He may be unusual looking, but he's a very good fur baby. The employee tells her.
That thing is an abomination. What if children saw it? It's licking its junk.
Well, that was true. Pan had moved farther south with his cleaning and was still completely oblivious to the crazy lady. While the employee was defending my little Pan's honor, my awesome dad nudged me to get my attention. What the hell's going on with this woman? Well, remember that stupid woman I told you about who thought I still worked at Walmart? The one that pulled out your hair when she tried to snatch off your headset? Uh-huh. Long story short, and after a lot of hassle to get people on her side, when Karen saw that she's not getting her way here either, she made a strangled sound in her throat, and her face turned almost purple in shades. Whatever she wanted to say, I guess words couldn't convey it because suddenly she launched herself at us, arms raised, fingers curled like claws, ready to scratch our eyes out. Dad was too quick for her though, as he shoved me out of the way and sidestepped her, causing Karen to run full force into the shelf behind us. She is lucky the lower drawers kept her from impaling herself in the eye with the hanging racks. Judging by her screams though, I'm still pretty sure she scratched the hell out of her arms as she fell back onto the floor. None too gently, Karen began shouting assault, for help, and of course, for the police. She got her wish. Lowe's manager radioed for security, and in less than a minute, two guys were hauling, screeching, and cursing Karen up and marching her towards the front of the store. The police were called, and what should have been a 30-minute shopping trip turned into an hour-and-a-half-long ordeal of speaking with the multiple managers, giving our statements to the police, watching Karen lose it on the police and have to be tasered in order to be handcuffed, and agreeing that this time, yes, I wanted to press charges. They took security tapes and I gave them the name of my former Walmart manager to contact to confirm the earlier incident, as well as see about getting their security tapes as well. We then finally got to pay for our stuff, with the manager insisting on giving us 10% off our final purchase price for all the trouble. Plus, he knew from working with us in the past just how much we'd spent at his store in the last year while we've been landscaping my dad's new property. That made Dad very happy, and he spent the last couple hours calling up his buddies and telling them about the lunatic at Lowe's and how he got a discount. He's a simple person to please. I wish he wouldn't have told his wife though, because she got very upset and worried about us. It's her normal state and demanded that we leave the rest of the yard work in my project until tomorrow and just relax for the rest of the night. We obliged her, and I'm taking part of my resting time to write this update. I am so shocked by this woman. I have never been spoken to by a stranger like this outside of my stint doing retail. Is this just how some people are? God, I hope she gets help. She won't be finding it at Lowe's though, because we were assured that Karen was banned from there as well. And as a side note, Lowe's is also the only home improvement store in our county. The next available one is a Home Depot, about a 30-minute drive up the interstate. It sucks to be her. Update. So,
Hello again to everyone. I know all of you have been waiting for some sort of update as to what happened to the woman after she was arrested. The quick and simple version of it is, she's in the county jail. I was contacted a few weeks ago and informed that she pleaded guilty to all the charges as part of a plea deal. You see, at the time of her arrest, and yes, on top of her charges for harassing and assaulting me, she was also charged with resisting arrest and assault of an officer because apparently she spit in his face. She was also carrying a controlled substance. They didn't say what exactly, and I didn't think to ask. And apparently she had enough of it that the charge was up to possession with intent to sell. I'm assuming the deal was about getting her supplier, but they didn't give me any details about it because it was still an ongoing case. So don't quote me on that.
and now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.